Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Enlightened Entrepreneurs UK. My name is Yokai, and I'm delighted to have with me today a special friend of mine that I have a lot more in common with, also as an entrepreneur and beliefs and many other things. And that is Zondra Wilson. Zondra, welcome to the call.
Well, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Incredible. Really appreciate you joining us here today for the very first time.
I'm glad to be here. I'm so excited for this show.
Excellent. Now, for those who do not know Zondra, here's what I've known about her. After booking numerous modeling jobs for billion-dollar companies such as Mez, Best Buy, Pfizer, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Pfizer.
Pfizer, yes. She decided to launch an USDA certified organic skin line care called Blue Skincare LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things we like about Zonda is, she is the only female African-American owner, manufacturer, and distributor of a skincare company with USDA certified organic accreditation in the United States. Yeah. That's a whole lot of good things there you have going on, Zondra.
Wow. Yeah. Only God. Yeah.
And you have a very special background. You were in the entertainment or like PR industry for a long time. Can you talk to us about that before we get started?
Oh, sure. My background, I was a television news reporter and anchor. I also did sports. So when I graduated from college, I immediately, got a job. I was all, hungry to work as a news reporter. I was excited, And after working in the business for several years, I realized that something was missing. It just wasn't for me. And then I eventually made the transition over into the entertainment industry. And I would do freelance, reporting, sports reporting, writing, things of that nature, as well as acting. Right. And I just thought I found the fountain of youth. I loved it. It just keeps you young because you're out, you're doing something that you really love to do.
Right.
So that's how I got started. That was the transition.
Beautiful. And talk to us as well about, the skincare, how you ended up doing this business.
Yes. After I've been in the entertainment industry since 1999 as a actress. And within that, I've booked a lot of jobs as a model, and I would do a lot of skincare ads. And what I noticed was that I would book the jobs, the client or the makeup artist would always compliment me on my skin, and they would be like, oh gosh, we really love your skin. That's why you got the job, and, I kept hearing that over and over again. And I'm like, I think I got something here. And what they didn't know is that years earlier, I was talking to my mom and my aunt. They would always tell me about, because they grew up in the southern states of the United States in Alabama.
Beautiful.
And they couldn't afford all of the expensive skin creams, and they just didn't have the money for it. So they would always use the natural products from on the farm. They grew their own food, and so they knew about the coconut oils and the olive oils and things of that nature. So that's what they used. Right. And one of the things that they brought to my attention was that, my aunt especially, she was like, did you notice how their skin is soft and they don't have any wrinkles? Well up in age. These women were like 80 and 90, the women that my aunt was talking about. And I looked, I was like, she's right. And they were using products, the purest products from on the farm and from the, the stores. And, they explained that to me. And so years later, when I went through my own little financial drop where I could not afford all of the creams, because they had told me, but it kind of went in one ear out the other. I noticed and I saw it, but I was still just addicted to a lot of the mainstream cosmetics.
Right.
And so when I went through my own financial woe, I then started using the products or the ingredients really that they had suggested. And I just found the fountain of youth. I
Absolutely.
noticed
You were
the,
surprised.
I was very, oh, surprised is an understatement. Because when I started using it, and I noticed like the things that they said, but I guess I'm like, I was like everyone else. I'm no different. Like people can tell us, like we know we need to eat healthy, but we don't. We know processed foods are bad for us, but we still sneak a hamburger from McDonald's every now and again, knowing it could kill us any minute.
Right.
So I was that person. It was nothing special about me. I was a hard-headed person until I went through my own situation. And then when I started using the products, I noticed a huge difference instantaneously.
Right.
And so I just started going to Whole Foods and using all of these products, drinking, like I would drink pure vinegar by mouth and coconut oil by mouth. And I noticed like when I would get a scrape or a cut, and I would put coconut oil on it, and it would immediately, literally within a day, the scar would be gone. And, we go to the store and buy all of these ointments, and, we still have the scar that's on our arm, from the stuff that we've spent $25 for.
Right.
And so that's how I got started. And I prayed, and, my faith in God, he had been leading me in that direction, but starting a business is very expensive. And that's not necessarily what I wanted to spend my money on. I had a lot of other things I wanted to spend money on, not necessarily starting a business, but, after praying and the Holy Spirit just pricking my heart and saying, this is what you need to do. And I said, okay, Lord, if this is what I'm supposed to do, then you need to provide the money to do it. And what did I say that for? When I opened up that door, he just provided the money, and he gave me the formulas, literally just in prayer, how much of each formula, what to put in each formula. And they're just products, and my stuff, which is USDA certified, which is what I really, I'm proud about, is my products are edible, because the USDA doesn't have like a personal products department and then a food department.
Right.
All of their things are food. So all of my products you can eat. They're things that you eat. Oatmeal, flaxseed, coconut oil, olive oil, vinegar, things like that. So that's what I'm most proud of, is that these are products that you can actually eat and not, then they won't poison you. Even though we don't tell you to go and eat them. We don't want you to go and buy some facial scrub and then go home and, make you some oatmeal with my facial scrub. But yeah, these are edible products.
Incredible. What I love about the story you have just shared with me is it shows how you moved from a place where you were not happy to actually using what you already had, from your background, and then of course with a little bit of faith in what you were doing, you went on to serve the market. In fact, there was a need in the market there of what you had.
Yes. Yeah. And, people would ask, you have the old wives' tales, what I call it, black don't crack. And yes, we do have more melanin in our skin, and, we do age, we age a little differently than a lot of ethnicities. However, with adding not just us, but with all ethnicities. And what I try to tell a lot of my Caucasian friends, a lot of my models, is that it's not, because for some reason they think it's just for African-American skin. I'm like, no, this is for every skin type. It's organic products. It's not like I'm putting something in it that's just going to help the African-American skin stay youthful. It's for every ethnicity. And I always tell people to just try. If you try it, immediately, it's one of my kids had severe acne. He started using my honey mask and the oatmeal mask, and it just immediately took 3 weeks. Proactive didn't work that quick. Take it away. Yeah. And it is something that I did not want to do. I just trusted God, because I knew, like you said, I wasn't happy. I was a news reporter. I had an amazing career. I was, had my own house, had a lot of money. But when God calls you to do something, and you just, I just had to trust him. I had to trust what he was telling me to do, because we all have so many amazing things that we can contribute to society. Right. The issue is that we get caught up into money. How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to feed my children? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And we end up being empty inside. But I can't tell you, I get up every day excited about running my company. I get up every day, and I still work in the industry. I'm still an actress. I'm still modeling, but my heart and soul is with blue, and just with what God has shown me, what it's going to do. It's to help people to feel good about themselves and to know that they're putting the absolute purest ingredients available that's on their skin. And the beauty about it is that I'm praying over the product and just like, Lord, we operate with integrity. It's so, and I did a study group with a bunch of Christian women who I knew wouldn't lie to me. I'm like, just tell me the truth, because you don't want to put something out there that you think is one way, and then, and it doesn't sell. You wasted all your money and your time. But God was so amazing that he just allowed these women, and they were honest. They came and was like, you got something here, Zondra, even though my mom had told me and my aunt had told me, we need that, some more affirmation before we go, as we need like a 3 trumpet blast, two prophecies before we want to step out and do something that may cost us something. But God is so amazing that he did that for me, and so now I know I have it. So, yeah.
Beautiful. I love your story, and I love the energy with which you bring this truth, into our audience today. Let's just jump onto another aspect of the business side of this. You were in the entertainment industry, and you were doing all this and all that.
Yeah.
Just like many of the new entrepreneurs or people who just moving away from the 9-to-5 arrangement, or from working for somebody, which probably they are not happy, and they're launching out on their own. In your previous experience, in your experience, what were the challenges that you faced in that transition period?
Oh my gosh. I'm so regular. It's so funny. Let me just tell you how bad it was. When I was in Michigan, I worked for I was in sales.
Yes.
And when you're in sales, you make a ton of money. It had gotten so bad. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine on the phone, and I remember God said clearly, because he speaks to us so calmly, and just, he was like, I want you to move. And I'm saying, well, move where? And I'm just weird. I'm talking to her about her moving, because she was thinking about dating this guy, moving to Alabama. And I was like, yeah, girl talk. Right. And I felt so calm in my spirit. And I act like I didn't hear that, because I was comfortable. I was living in my house. I hated my job, but I was making money. Right. I was making more money than I've made ever in my life at that time. But I heard in my spirit that God was like, I need you to move. And I just ignored him. And that year was the worst year on earth for me, because he troubled my spirit. And I have so many witnesses that can back me up from my church. I'm like, and it was so bad to where I would go into work at 8:00, because we had to meet to go in and sign in at 8:00. And I would go home by 11 and be laying in the bed and just depressed. And I'm like, God, I hate my life. And he was like, I told you to move. And when God tells you to do something, he don't fight with you. He tells you, he'll give you the assignment, and then he steps back. It's up to us to make that step.
Right.
And so I just wouldn't do it. And so I have a girlfriend that's out here in the industry, because he told me to move for the entertainment industry, which is tied into, and I'll get into that, how all that ties into my company. I didn't know it at the time. He would keep throwing her up on TV. I'm watching sports, and he'll throw her up on. I'm like, where's she? And then I'll turn the TV, turn to another channel. There you throw a commercial up again. Then she her name is Yvette Nicole Brown, and she knows the story. Right. So I was watching the NBA playoffs. I love sports. Like, now go Cleveland. I'm Cleveland.
Beautiful.
So,
wonderful.
I'm watching the sports, and then here she come again. I'm like, Lord. And he's just like, I told you to move. I'm like, okay, so it was so bad. I just still would ignore, because it was my whole life. I had established what I thought a life and a career. I had a home. I had a job. I'm not about to sell my house and move to LA for what? It's like crazy talk.
Right.
But he didn't say another word. So it got so bad to where my boss called me into his office and was like, Zondra, what's going on with you? I should have been fired. His name is Chris Nemeth, and, he's on my Facebook page. I sent him this long card later, because he released me. He released me. He knew that there was something going on with me. But I wouldn't tell him. What am I going to say? God telling me to move to LA and quit my job? What am I going to tell my boss? That's why I'm not working well, because I'm supposed to leave here and go to LA. And so I didn't do it. And so finally it gotten so bad where I went into a staff meeting, and one of my girlfriends, her name is Penny, was like, Zondra, you need to just go. You need to just go. You are miserable.
Right.
You're miserable. So I just said, you know what, Lord, if you want me to go, you need to get me an A. I just told him my stipulations. Now, he could have struck me dead then, but he was so gracious and said, okay, I know this girl is ignorant and don't really, she don't know what she's saying. So he got me an agent. I rented out my house. And I moved to LA, and then he just started blessing me and blessing me and blessing me and showing me what he wanted me to do. And then, got here, and then he was trying to transition me into the skincare, but because that's when I, started using a lot of the organic products, and, he was trying to transition me, but I was like, I don't want to, we've got our agenda, and God has the agenda that he has for our life, and they don't always match up. And I just fought it. And when I fought it is when I was the most miserable. And it was so miserable that people would come up to me and say, Zondra, what's going on with you? Because I'm normally just really happy and excited. So the transition would have been very easy had I just did it. But I fought it and fought it and fought it and wasn't trusting and just wanting to do what I wanted to do. So when I finally just said, okay, Lord, it was like, okay, no, this is what you do. And this was years, in between, like years. He just sat back and, until I said, okay. And then it just blossomed and blossomed and blossomed and just, and he gave me the formulas. It was just so easy, and now it's like, I didn't know I could be so happy. With I have a startup, so I'm not rich by any, I had more money when I was working in sales, but I know that the money will come. I am just excited. And then to be able to give back when I'm doing something that I'm able to give back. And God is telling me where the money will go. Like he's showing me the full picture, in my case, it would be this prayer mansion where people will come as an escape free, all of the money, people will come for a retreat to just have this encounter with God, to encourage them, to fill them back up to whatever their goals are, whatever it is that they're supposed to do, regardless of whatever their, religious affiliation, is to encourage and to just pump back into them life, to pump back into people that they are somebody, to just go out and to be the best you that you can be, and not to go to the graveyard full. When we leave this earth, we need to leave empty.
That's right.
We don't want to go to the graveyard full of ideas, full of things that should have, would have, could have. And, and to know that I could be this happy, you want to tell somebody else. And God took me through a transition to where I get it. So people can't come to me and say, well, Zondra, I didn't have any money. Oh, I didn't have any money either, honey. I lost my house. I had this, and God said to give it up.
Absolutely.
To go this route to where I can be relatable to a lot of people. I was older too. Now I wasn't only 20. It's when you're 20, 19 and 20, it's easy. But when you're older, you feel like I'm old and I can't do things. No.
That's when you're supposed to act out.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Now that you have moved, from that situational setup that you were in, you followed the voice within. How did you get your first client as a business person? It's
so funny. The clients were already there. I went ahead. This is what I did. I was talking to my one of my nieces. And I was talking to her about my brand actually as a in the entertainment industry.
Right.
And so she was like, you need to, your face is everywhere, your poster, because I've done so much print work. And it was like a light bulb went off.
Right.
And I was like, okay, skincare. So when I said that to people, they were like, yeah, they were already there. So I'm like, it seems so too easy, I guess. So I'm like, okay, let me see if these people will spend the money. People are good. Yeah, go for it. But the key is they're going to spend the money and keep coming back. So I prayed and I said, Lord, give me people who are going to be honest with me. I don't want to walk around here thinking I got something and I don't, or thinking something is this and it's not. So, and plus and to be honest with you, again, I didn't want to spend the money. So you kind of want to hear people say this is crap. So you can say, oh, I was wrong. I don't have to spend the money on this. I can go and do what I want to do with my money. So that's just being honest. That's just being real. And so what I did is I got a bunch of women together that I knew would be honest with me. And I had them try the product I had a 30-day study and a 60-day study. And they were just blown away. They were like, yes, Zondra, you've got something. This is amazing. I've had this skin issue and I have that skin issue. And yes. And so they were my first client. They were my first clients. And then they told a friend. And then they told a friend. And then I started, because at first I wasn't really marketing. I was so overwhelmed with just getting the business together. And I wanted it to be, integritous. And I wanted to make sure that people, just getting my e-commerce line together, getting all my brochures together. I'm a perfectionist. I wanted things to be a certain way. I didn't want it to be, and then with the FDA and the USDA, they have their own certifications individually, and then how they want things to be worded. But I wanted it to be when people came to my site or tried my product that it did something to them. The results are important. The results are very important. Absolutely. And so they then just fell in love, and then it just spread out. So everyone that had used the product, I've had one girl that, because some people go through a cleansing period or with their skin, so you kind of give them some background. Some people don't really understand organic in nature. An example would be anything. If you start cleansing your body and you try to go back and eat a Big Mac, you'll get sick. That's how you know a lot of the stuff that you're eating is crap. If you go through a complete cleanse and try to go back and eat garbage, your body is like, what is that? And it's the same thing with our skin. Like if you're using pure, not just mine, any kind of products, if you're using pure products and really good products, just as God has made them, and you try to go and put chemicals on your face or whatever, you'll break out. Because your body is going back. It gets used to whatever it is you're doing. We're used to a lot of crap, in our skin, in our body. That's why we're sluggish. We, we're tired all the time. And and our skin is a result of that. So, and I promote a full holistic type of program. It's not just my products. My products it works great on anybody, but oh my, if you're doing the full, where you're eating healthy and you're exercising, it's a whole new beginning for a person. Yeah, a whole new ballgame.
Absolutely. I love, how you strategize these. Maybe you did it unconsciously, but, this seemed to be one strategy that many business owners that I have the opportunity to interview use when they have an idea. I'm hoping our community also make note of this, is you start with your inner circle, like in your case with some girls around you, that you literally gave them a 30-day setting and then 60-day setting. Yeah. You gave them the product to try, and then they kept on coming back. I find that among many business owners, because, finding a client for the first time is really hard work.
Yeah.
You put in that hard work and then maintain a higher quality of service, you have a client for life. As one of my mentors say the headache is in the front end, but the money is in the back end, is in the repeat sales, is in people staying with you. And you are actually doing exactly that. Let me just take you on to another part of the interview here, Zondra. If any, what role was played by mentors in those early years in your business?
Oh my gosh, my nieces in my prayer group. I have a prayer group that I'm with, and just to know that I'm on the right track and the encouragement every single day. I get up and I'll pray and I'll listen to some type of motivational video or speech, and then I'm in prayer with my groups. I have my church group and then my other group, but just that type of mentorship, because I wholeheartedly believe that if I'm on the wrong track, somebody's going to tell me. Yes. If I have a product that's not doing what it claims it's going to do, or it's harmful or whatever, I don't believe God would allow me to unleash that on the world. Mm-hmm. And I'm with a group of women and men, that I believe will tell me. Now it's up to me to listen, which I would. So just the mentorship initially, is this what you want me to do? And going back, my mom, she passed away, so she doesn't know anything about this business 3 years ago. But just with her, she started it all, because her thing was, Zondra, there's nothing that you can't do. And you got to just go for it and stick with it and stop overthinking things. Right. And I would just overthink stuff. I needed to know like with God, I need to know, okay, you want me to do this? I need to know how, when, where, where's it going to end up, Lord? Okay, how's this going to fit? I needed to know everything. And of course, God's not going to tell us everything. We have to walk by faith. And so he had to break me out of that mental, I call it mental anguish, needing to know every single thing, every aspect of everything, because I'm a, control freak. Like, I need to know how this is going to work and that's going to work. And I had to step back. So with my mentoring group and people that has motivated me, it's the backbone as to keep going, because like any entrepreneur, I want to give up. I want to take my money and do other things with it. I want to, like, now it's like, okay, I need a car, Lord. Okay, I want to take my money and buy a car, or I want this house, or I want to do this. But the group is like, no, just stick with it. Stick with it, Zondra. Stick with it. Because, keep going when it's down, when you don't have a sale, then you start second guessing yourself. Like, did I hear you right, Lord? Am I, when this doesn't go right, or if you have this person that may say this, because you're going to have that person that may say this. Because when it comes to business, what I found, it is something, when I'm on TV, everybody loves it. Oh, Zondra's on TV tonight. But when you start a business, it's like crickets with certain people. I don't know what that is. Maybe one of your listeners can email me or tell me. I get it if it's something that's not a good product or not, but I feel like you don't get as much support when you have a business. As opposed, and I know, and I'm just like using acting, because with acting, they will promote that to the moon. They're retweeting and passing along and uploading and, and et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to a business, I feel like it's harder to get the support. I have my inner group, but when you're trying to branch out, it just seems a little bit harder. And I don't know why. I can't answer that question. So that's why I have a group of women that will tell me the truth, that's honest with me.
That's right.
That will help me, that will encourage me to keep going.
That's right. I was once puzzled by that same question. Why, when you go out to start a business, people will say, "Oh, right. I've known a lot of people who tried that and failed," and people are observing. And from talking to other entrepreneurs, it's much easier to go with the what the masses are going, and it takes courage, to be different and provide something that is going to help the masses. It's only after you are successful do people start celebrating you. The first few years, no one celebrates. They will look at you and say, "What's wrong with you? Why are you? Are you trying to be different? Are you what? What are you, a hero or what?" And that will knock your spirit if you haven't got the support group like we've been talking about, or maybe mastermind group for those who haven't got the support group like Zondra, or a coaching individual, or a coaching club, or any sort of networking where you are supported.
You have to have a support group. You have to have. Even if it's just you and God, but God is so amazing. He will send you the people. If it's something that he's ordained, and, he's been so amazing for me, he will send you the people. But just get you a support, people that believe in you, believe in your product. And when you listen to a lot of the billionaires, from Gates to Ma to Zuckerberg to Michael Dell, when you listen to how they got started, especially Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is probably one of the most respected men. When I listened to his business, how he got started, he was even fired from Apple. He went off and started Pixar, and Pixar ended up producing Toy Story, and then Apple ended up buying Pixar. You look at that whole transition, but they also, like when he started, it's like, what are you doing? Like all of them, they're like, what are you doing? That's stupid. And so you have to know going in that people are going to think your idea is stupid and they don't know what you're doing. Why are you special? They think I don't know why we think that way instead of just embracing or encouraging the person to go forth. Like, well, if you feel like this is good, then hey, we tend to just, I don't know, we tend to back away. Like because the person is different. They're trying something. They have this amazing dream or vision. And right now you're looking at them in a back room of